Welcome to Gulfstream Park West, and welcome to the Gulfstream Park West Handicapping Show. We have our Veterans Day card today. 10 races with a beautiful day in South Florida. Fast main track, firm turf course.
Yes, and as Ronnie mentioned, it is Veterans Day. We want to give a very big thank you to the men and women who have served our country. And thank you for your service and for keeping us safe and letting us live in the great United States of America. Today is Veterans Day. We have that exciting card, as Ron mentioned, but tomorrow is another exciting card. It's Sunshine Millions Preview Day. Mark your calendars. We've been mentioning it all week, but don't want you to forget. Post time will be at 12 noon tomorrow. That means the handicapping show will start at 11. We'll be on earlier as well. 11 races, 7 stakes races. I just got so excited about it. $700,000 in purses. Again, starts at noon tomorrow.
Yeah, and it was a really nice race. It's got handicapped them already, and if you're looking for my analysis, of course, always on the GulfstreamPark.com website. And great races and wide open, which will be great wagering offerings tomorrow. And today, we got some great stuff going on because we have 2 carryovers we want to tell you about. So let's run through that wagering menu. We're going to start the day off today with the first of 2 pick fives, in case you'll have a ticket in there. And in case today, the Super High Five is going to start in race 3.
It starts in race 3 today. That's a field with 7 horses or more, so keep an eye out for that throughout the day. The $1 rolling Super High Five. Rainbow 6 today will start on the 10 race card in race number 5, and we have a carryover of more than $16,000 building in that.
Yeah, and we have a carryover today in the late pick 5, which starts in race number 6. And boy, over $13,000 in that pool. And when we have a carryover in there, this thing is going to skyrocket. It'll be up near $100,000, if not more. So they really bet it, and it's a fun wager, and it's only 50 cents. So that's how we end the day today with that final pick 5 of the afternoon. So our first race on Veterans Day is a 7.5 furlong turf event. Claim is 3 and up. Non-winners of 2 races in life or a race since May 11th, or 3-year-olds. $30,000 down to $25,000. A couple of scratches in this race. Scratch the 1 Cap in Hand, the 6 Golden Pirate, and the number 8, the Great Gatsby. Note there's a jockey change on the number 7. Make that rider Sammy Camacho. I really liked Cap in Hand in here, but we'll have to wait for another day. Want to see your early pick 5 ticket.
Well, I missed the early pick 5 by 1 yesterday. That would have paid about $2,600. So regroup today, trying to get it home today. You see, it went 4 deep in this opening leg. I agree with you with the scratch at the 1. It makes it much more wide open in here. I know we both were a little bit hesitant about the morning line favorite, the number 3 Golden Rifle in here, so went a little protectively. And it's kind of a same format as I've done before, a little bit top heavy. 3, 2, 2, and 2 for $48.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree with you in this first race. You see the current favorite up there is the number 5 horse, very early in the wagering. And a Ginger Goose, and a horse that hasn't won in, I think, 20 starts. So, you know, that's how wide open it is. But very early in the wagering, I did go with the number 2, No One Said Ever. This is a gelding. He's a running winner on the turf, going a mile at this level, 2 starts back. Now goes back to the grass today after stalking the action. He finished 4th. That was a race move from the route on the turf to 7 furlongs on the sealed sloppy track. And I thought, like I said, I was going to lean towards the 1 today in the opener. And I think this one is the one to beat now with the scratch of the 1 and up there. I see you picked it too.
I think so too. And this one looks to be the speed in this race here. The number 6 Golden Pirate, coming off of a year layoff, would have had some speed, scratched out of this race. And here, Golden Rifle hasn't shown any early speed since coming off the bench as well. I think if this one gets out to the front, he definitely had an excuse last time, as you mentioned, with that surface switch and the sloppy track, plus the distance change that sometimes can be overlooked with that change off of the grass. Still managed a pretty solid 4th in that race there, but had been in such good form prior to that. And I agree. I think he's in the perfect spot today.
You know, number 4, Boca Scuttlebutt, is another going back to his preferred surface. He actually finished 3rd in front of the speedy No One Ever last time out there, recent clash. But that was 7 on the off track. I think this one is better suited for, that day on the off track than, say, said No One Ever. So I'm going to just flip-flop these 2, even though the 4 finished in front of the 2 last time out.
Yeah, I mean, this is certainly a solid runner in here. He's been in pretty good form, finishing in the money, beating about 4 lengths last time with Eddie Castro, who's going to stay aboard. And as I said, he's a pretty solid runner, pretty consistent. You always know what kind of performance to get from him. I used the number 3 Golden Rifle in second, who I had alluded to earlier. Now 2nd race off of the bench here, raced in March against 35 optional claimers. This is a stakes winner in here. He's been again, he had that 7-month layoff, came back very lackluster performance first off the layoff there, and had shown some speed prior to that break. Didn't really show any of his former zip when coming off of the break. So we'll see if he can now second start off the bench get some of that back.
Yeah, you know, he's probably a tune-up for the drop down today, and the stretch out and distance seems to be more suited to going around 2 turns than 5 furlongs. So any progression from that, you mentioned the back class, is certainly the 3 Golden Rifle. As we said, we had concerns about this one being the morning line favorite, but you know, second off the bench, good connections. We'll see how that runs today. So with that said, we'll go to race number 2, and this one is a 6 furlong maiden claiming event for fillies 2-year-olds, $35,000, and we do have a scratching here of the bottom horse, number 7, in race number 2. And how'd you see it?
Well, I went with the number 6, Rio Mar, who is dropping for the first time from maiden special weight to maiden claiming company, putting the blinkers back on, which she wore in her debut. It seemed like the most recent start was pretty much just a failed experiment all the way around. She debuted in maiden special weight company going 6 furlongs on the dirt with the blinkers, was a big price, and finished a respectable 4th. Stretched out, tried the turf, and took the blinkers off, and did absolutely no running at all, was just in back throughout. So now they're going back to what seemed to be a better formula in her debut, and she's also going to get a little bit of class relief. I think this might be the spot for her.
Yeah, you know, I have her on a ticket for all the reasons you mentioned, putting the blinkers back on. You know, they didn't look like this horse took to the turf last time out, but I went with a little bit of a speed play in here, and that's with the 2. There Goes Bella, dropping to this $35,000 level, broke from post 10, set a pressured pace, faded in that race now to finish 8, but it was a 6 furlong debut, $50,000 up at Belmont Park, but it's Jane Sibeli. Jane Sibeli came here last week, started running. She won 3 of 9 races. Tyler Gaffleone, this is a daughter of Yes, It's True. And I just think the drop, you know, the horse that has some tactical speed, inside post might be the right one in there, but also it's Rio Mar on my ticket.
Well, and last time in the debut for There Goes Bella, she was breaking from the outside post. I think she might have been hustled up maybe a little bit too soon versus what she was comfortable doing. It was her debut there. She showed some speed. She completely faded in that race. So I think that she'll be able to hold on if she's able now to maybe ration her speed a little bit better in here. As you said, drawn much better in this spot. I use the number 1, Atlantic Gusto, who's a first-time starter for Victor Barbosa Jr. Both siblings that made it to the racetrack were winners. She's going to get Lasix for her debut. I like the work tab at Gulfstream Park as well. And I want to give a trainer stat on Victor Barbosa Jr., and this was a big additional deciding factor for me in putting this horse on the ticket. In the past 5 years, with first-time starters just in maiden claiming, not the biggest sample size, but these are really great numbers. 5 for 19, 26% win, 10 for 19, 53% of the time in the money, and a 422 ROI. Maybe get ignored sometimes, but Edgar Zayas in the saddle once again, and it looks like we've seen some nice 2-year-olds from the Barbosa joint.
Yeah, you know, all those things make you want to go back and look at that first-time starter, and this might be a spot for a first-time starter, but I was thinking of the number 3 synchronizing in here. Number 3, excuse me, daughter of Ghost Zappa, getting some class relief, made sort of a middle move last time out and retreated to finish the well-beaten 6, but it was her $50,000 career debut, and it was on a sealed, sloppy track, so I'm going to put a pass through that. And I just like Ghost Zappas. I think this horse might have a chance to, you know, bounce back and grab a minor share in there, so a pretty wide-open affair in race number 2. Starts our first of 2 pick 4s in the afternoon.
Yeah, and that'll be a telling performance from synchronizing as well. Just to point out, Wildcat Kate won by more than 15 lengths that day. The 2nd and 3rd place finishers came back and ran the other day. Both ran terribly. Yeah. So we'll see if that actually was as good a race as it looks, because Wildcat Kate is in a stake tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, and that was one of my reasons for putting this horse further down the ticket, because the 2 horses, like you said, did not come right. I think we picked them both, and they both finished up the track. So 3rd race today, 1 mile on the turf, maiden special weight, fillies and mares, 3-year-olds, and up. We do have a, you know, a full 8 runners in this field with no scratches or jockey changes to report in race number 2. And I like the number 2 here in El Vedado, making her local debut after proving she can handle a jump up to maiden special weight company when coming within the nose of winning at this level and distance. And let's go back and show you that performance. And we're going to pick it up from the top of the stretch home. You know, here's the thing about this race. If you look at this race, you look at the fractions in this race. They were 25.49 for the quarter, 52 flat for the half. So if this horse can close on those fractions, and you see it right now, splitting horses and coming on, and you see the fractions on your board up there, I just thought closing on those fractions was pretty good, even though just gets beat nostril at the wire there. So I thought closing on those slow fractions, number 9 that day, number 2 today, El Vedado, Jonathan Gonzalez. It's a daughter of Big Brown. I think this is the one to beat in this race.
But, I put her on top in this spot as well. It was a little bit hesitantly, I may say that, because she's got 3 seconds in a row coming into this race. And you know how I feel with a horse that usually likes to finish second. And she certainly falls into that category. She was very game to close on those slow fractions last time. Still wasn't able to get by. I don't think that she'll have it so slow in this spot here today. But through the rest of the field, she was the only one that I thought might be able to handle this spot. As you mentioned, she jumped up from maiden claiming to maiden special and was still only beaten a nose there. So I think that she'll be tough here in this spot. Reed Nagel also has the number 8 Dietitian Michelle, so he's got double whammy in this race. I used the number 4 Backsplash in second, who's trying to turf for the first time. The sire Backtalk hasn't had a turf winner yet, but the only sibling to make it to the track and did win on the turf. Ralph Nix, the trainer, very strong with dirt to turf mood.
Yeah, and I got it on the ticket, but we have our second horses flip-flop. I went with the 6 Mackenzie Capri. This one will finish the late closing 4th in back-to-back outings at this level and distance across town. Now goes back to the grass this afternoon. Rallied nicely, finished second her local debut. That was going 7 furlongs on the sealed sloppy track. Steve Dwoskin, Jesus Rios, the surface switch this afternoon. And I just thought with the pace up front, this one can close and grab a share in there. And those 4ths were not bad performances on the turf a couple of starts back.
No, not bad performances at all. She's another late running type. So if we've got a lot of horses running late, we mentioned this yesterday to keep an eye on. It seems to be a little bit more apparent on the dirt versus on the turf of horses trying to make up ground in here. So we'll see if El Vedado sits just a little bit closer to the pace.
Well, yeah, and let's see what that pace is today. I don't think we'll get a 52 half.
No.
And, as we mentioned, this is where the Super High Five, the first of the rolling Super High Five, starts in race number 3. Race number 4 this afternoon, 7 furlongs on the main tracks. Maiden Claimers, Fillies and Mares, 3 and up, $10,000. Couple of scratches in here. Number 2, Money Road, and number 3, Mañana, are scratched out of race number 4. And we both went with the number 5, Tooth of Valor, turning back today to 7 furlongs. Duel throughout, got the lead and settled for second. That was going a 2-turn mile in the slop last time out. Victor Barboza Jr., Leonel Reyes quarterbacking that turn back in distance this afternoon. Off that race, thought this one was the one to beat.
I think a little bit of the turn back and getting back to a fast track is certainly going to be beneficial for her. You can argue maybe she showed a little bit more speed last time, beaten just by about 2 lengths to be second there, and that was on the sloppy track. Maybe she was aided a bit, but she had a respectable third behind a couple runaway pair in front of her prior to that, beating about 13 lengths, but she was wide in that race as well. Earlier on, it seemed like getting out of the gate seemed to be her issue. She seems to have fixed that since moving over into the Barbosa Jr. barn, and that's why I think she's going to be dangerous today.
Well, number 6 on Priceless is actually lowering her price today to $10,000 after taking the overland route early on. Then made a fair bit along the inside when beaten double-digit lengths, but that was a $20,000 career debut, and he was going a mile on the turf. So lots of changes this afternoon. I think this is a good spot with the drop to the $10,000 level, going to the main track. I think with the level of competition in this here, it certainly has a chance to grab a share.
Absolutely. She's actually 8-1 in the morning line. I think it's interesting that both of us put her in second because I do agree with you that she's got a chance in here. She has a bit of experience going a little bit longer distance with that mile on the turf there. I used the number 3, Wonderful Shashi, for Steve Dwoskin in third. Now, Steve Dwoskin certainly not known for first-time starters.
0 for 58,
0 for 58. So probably want to watch one from this filly before putting her on top, maybe next time or the time after that. But a very nice, respectable workout tab coming into today. She's been working steadily at Gulfstream Park. The Dam with Stakes place. She's going to get Lasix for her debut and Emmy Sal Jaramillo aboard.
Yeah, you know, I threw Melodica on the ticket there, debuting locally for Kathleen O'Connell. So right away, that piques my interest. You know, hitting the board in 1 of 3 turf races. You know, against a notch tougher up at Monmouth Park. You know, just going to need some pace to run at.
Yeah, that's going to be the key there. As we mentioned earlier, it looks like Toother Bell is definitely going to go to the front. So we'll see if she can help Melodica out a little bit.
Yeah, well, that's how we see race number 4. We're going to take a short break. And when we come back, I'll show you my Rainbow Six ticket. We got a couple of nice carryovers this afternoon, and one is right in the Rainbow Six next race.
Next January, 12 horses, $1 million buy-in for a $12 million purse. It is the world's richest race. It is the Pegasus World Cup.
Welcome back. Race number 5, a 5-furlong turf event. Claim is 3 and up. Non-winners of 2 in life, $8,000. One scratch in the race. Number 5, Partagas Way. Ron and Acacia. We're going to take a look at my Rainbow 6 ticket. And we mentioned starting the day with a pretty nice carryover. It's starting to build in here. And I have a $43.20 ticket. And I have 2 horses in here. And I thought I got the 1 and 6. I think they might be right. And you're seeing race number 7. That's my single this afternoon. That's the Kurt Fox. I think that is the logical choice. And I like singling, so I can go deeper in the bottom end. I went 3, 3, and 4, $43.20. So my day hangs on the number 11 in race number 7 this afternoon. And in this race, I really was impressed with the performance of the number 6 horse in here, Zonto. This one going to make it 2 in a row after returning from a pretty extended layoff and had ridden in California, plunged to the $10,000 level and drew off rather impressively. And I want to go back and show you the stretch run of that. And as we're watching it, I just thought it was a good performance. It looks like they were looking for level. You really didn't know what to expect with this horse coming from California. You're going to see it, and it just seems to take to this turf course and against this level of competition and just draw us off rather nicely. And now the horse in second that day, Arideos, who finishes second here, come back to win its next start. So this one was flattered a bit by the horse that's going to close and just get up and get second in here. And that is, as I mentioned, Arideos. So I thought off that perfect level goes to non-winners of 2, not stepping way up or anything like that. I give this one another chance.
Yeah, and the only concern here, of course, is that this gelding might bounce a little bit off of that big effort off the layoff. Came off of about an 11-month break, as you mentioned, coming from California. Won by 3 that day with Emisel Jaramillo. But as you said, they didn't step him up aggressively here. He looks like he's in the right spot in this field, and that's kind of why I went to put him on top as well, thinking he might be able to get the 2 in the row because he fits in this spot here. Lisa Lewis certainly doing well at Gulfstream Park West with her limited runners here. Had a couple of winners, this one included. I used the number 1 Magnanimous Mind in second. Now this one looks to be the speed. One of the biggest concerns, of course, though, is that he's 0 for 8 on the turf. He moved over to the dirt last time, was well beaten, trying back on the green, but he has a couple of seconds, but has never won on the turf before. Yeah,
but he's got those pair of fourth-place finishes. Those are at the $16,000 level, so they're just looking for a logical spot, and he think he's a logical contender, which makes a better case for the 6 horse in here as far as I'm concerned. Now, we both used the number 2 over the limit in third. This one is 0 for 15 on the turf. Going back to the grass today, showed speed in a pair of route races on the Monmouth Main track, which included a 13-length maiden breaker back on September 5th. George Navarro, Jose Garcia handling the I think this is an interesting proposition because this horse, if you looked at that maiden breaker there, so it has some kind of tactical speed. Just got to prove it can do it on the turf.
Definitely does. As you mentioned, over 15 on the turf, so yet again the same theme there. But George Navarro, a lot coming in from Monmouth as we've seen over the past couple of days, and getting that little bit of the class drop here. And earlier on, you mentioned some previous form for Magnanimous Mind on the turf. Over the limit, the same, just beaten about 3 lengths on the turf a couple starts back before that very impressive win on the dirt.
Well, that is race number 5. Race number 6 this afternoon is a 6-furlong sprint. Claim is fillies and mares 3 and up. Non-winners of 3 in life. We do have a scratch in here of the number 4, Kokomo. And as we mentioned at the top of the show, we have a really nice carryover in the late pick 5. And Acacia's going to show you her ticket.
Yep, my late pick 5 ticket will start right here. Again, we have a carryover carryover in the late pick 5, so I did go a little bit deeper in this one, $54 for me. I considered singling the Kurt Fox. I think definitely the horse to be in race number 7. Also went a little bit protectively in there with the number 4, Good Luck Justice, who's going to be a bit of a price. Luca Panici been red hot lately, so I thought maybe if I could try and get it home with a little bit of a price again. So 3-2, 3-2, and 3 for 54 today.
Yeah, and this is the time to step it up a little bit because we got that nice carryover, and I mentioned they're going to be betting it pretty nicely this afternoon. I did go with the number 3, Dancing Cool, on top of my ticket, and this one is stepping up to the next level. It returned from about a 3-month layoff to draw away 6 wide to defeat 6,252 lifetime claimers, and won that race by 3.5 widening lengths. So off that performance, I put this one on the ticket. I know you had it, you backed it up a little bit. I just thought off that performance and a wide open affair here that I put this one right there.
1 of 2 for Aubrey Mirage in here. Came off of that layoff again. Had a 60 buyer there, beaten about 3.5 lengths. I agree it was a nice performance. Moving forward, I'm not sure if she'd be able to repeat that kind of performance in this spot. I had her on there, but a little bit further down, just because even with that, yes, it was the cutback in distance, but prior to that, she hadn't really been in the best form. Maybe some of the freshening helped there. I did go with the number 2, Cherise Wynn, who's a little bit of a guess, but I thought in this field, one that might be able to run back to some of her previous form. She was running against 6250 condition claimers and had been finishing really well. She won the non-winners of 2, came back with a 3rd and a 2nd, and then tried the 6250 open claimers last time, a bit of a step up. I'm not really sure exactly what just happened there. She was behind throughout. They went pretty respectable, pretty fast. That was 7 furlongs, so she's cutting back a little bit to the 6 furlongs. And again, now she's in that non-winners of 3. I think this just might be where she belongs.
Yeah, I mean, she can bounce back. Ridden today by Jonathan Gonzalez. You look at the board now. Yeah, when you look at the board, we're not in too much agreement in this race. Of course, it's a wide open affair. I did go with the number 5, Mo Wees, in 2nd. Turn it back to a sprint distance on the main track after showing speed and fading late. That was a pair of $8,000 claimers going 7.5 furlongs on the turf. Ronnie Spatz is the trainer, Nick Juarez. This is a combination, turn back, surface switch, and I'm always a sucker for horses that, show a little lick on the turf, turning back to a sprint distance on the main track.
Yeah, she certainly could. I've been burned by this horse so many times trying to wake her up in here. I did use the number 6, Red Hot and Boom, who found a sloppy track last time. Didn't really seem to take too favorably to that. Had a win in a couple of seconds in this level and distance prior to that. And so I think that she'd be able to bounce back after that, too.
Yeah, and she just doesn't like the wet track.
Yeah.
I think she's going to run much better on the fast surface today. You also used the number 1, Playa Zaragoza.
Well, this one looks like she's going to show some speed from the rail as well. Her last 2 races were on the sloppy track. She seems to go a little bit more favorably when she's on the fast track.
Well, race number 7 this afternoon is in 7.5 furlongs on the turf. Maiden claimers, 2-year-olds, $20,000. Couple of scratches in here. Number 7 and the number 8 horse have been declared out of here. And we were talking about this. The Kurt Fox is where I singled. And I know you went too deep here. And the horse that you used in 2nd, I also used in 2nd on my ticket. But only singled the Kurt Fox.
Yes, I can understand. Again, this is the one I considered singling in here. Actually finished 4th last time out, but was bumped up to 3rd through a disqualification. When I go back and show that race, finished ahead, behind Get a Valentine, who came back to win his next 2. So coming out of a good race, the 2nd place finisher, Sir Sebastian, was the one who caused the trouble here. You see, the number 6 that day is the Kurt Fox. Showed some speed early, looked like he was moving really well. And as we get closer to the wire, I actually think he was making a winning move. The number 4, Sir Sebastian, moved over, completely squeezed him out. He had to steady. He pulled back. He wasn't able to even try to get towards the front, cut off any momentum he might have had. I think moving forward off of that, he's got a big shot.
Well, as they say, a picture says 1,000 words.
Yes.
I agree with you right there. So then the horse there in 2nd is now intriguing that we both picked it in 2nd on the line at 6-1, I believe. Good Luck Justice, hoping to get away from the gate trouble-free. Had some trouble at the start, bumped, but rallied pretty nicely to finish 4th. Its local turf debut, that was at $25,000 level. Steve Dwoskin, Luca Panici. We mentioned Luca, we mentioned Steve. He does very well with horses that have already run. The first-time starters, a little bit of a guess there. But number 4, Good Luck Justice, I think is a logical contender in here.
Luca Panici with 2 winners yesterday early on the card. This one's a 2-year-old by Mizzen Moston. And I think that the fact that he's run twice at the 7.5 on the turn, at the turf, he's gone two turns already twice. He's got that experience. He finished well last time. I think he gets a clean break today. I really do like him in this spot.
And we both, look at this, we're in total agreement. agreement in this race. We used all four the same order, and then the other one we used in third was the Kingfish. This one is returning to the turf, responded to a drop into this claiming level by showing speed, weakening late to finish third. That was a 5-furlong sprint, moved from the turf to a sealed, sloppy track. He's in the first flight playing Catch Me If You Can, I believe.
I think so, too. I think he's going to be forwardly placed. It looks like the Kurt Fox, who's taking blinkers off, might settle a little bit. We mentioned this yesterday. Pretty common theme for Wesley Ward to take the blinkers off his 2-year-olds to Kingfish. Will probably go. He might be able to hold on.
Yeah, I think he's got to go from that post, too. He's not all the way on the outside, but he's got a couple of scratches to his inside, but still dealing with an outside post. Race number 8, 6 furlongs, claim is 3 and up, $6,250. Couple of scratches in this race, too. The number 2, Sandro, and the number 4, Rancho. And I went with the 7 here, Curlin's Gem. And now, Curlin's Gem, we're talking about speed throughout the day. I think this one sits the trip. There seems to be an awful lot of speed in here.
An awful lot of speed. The big favorite at 8 to 5 in the morning line is the 1 Stableford for George Navarro. Looks like he's going to be out to the front. Sandro was one who certainly promised to have speed, so he's scratched in here as well. But I think that Curlin's Gem sits a perfect trip. Was beaten just by 3/4 of a length last time to be third. And I think that today he's going to get exactly the setup that he needs.
Yeah, Stableford, you've got to deal with Double Judge. Double Judge has one way to run. Go to the front and last as long as he can.
And so does Take Time
and
to Pray.
Take Time to Pray. So that's the reasoning behind, this horse is setting up. Talking about Stableford, you mentioned dropping to this level, breaking from the rail. He's got the speed needed to use the inside post to its advantage. But like we said, he's got to deal with these horses that have speed, Double Judge. And I just thought off that performance, off the way this race plays out, it's setting up for Curlin's Gem.
I think so, too. I think that Stableford is definitely one you have to use, dropping from Allowance Company over at Parks, again from the Navarro barn. The number 9 was the one that I used, who also does have some speed. This is Little Awesome from Bruno Tessori. He's actually 12 to 1 in the morning line. Tyler Gaffleone going to be aboard. He's first off the claim, but Bruno Tessori actually had him earlier on in his career and claimed him back. That's always something I really like to see, that this trainer did like working with this horse.
Yeah, and Take Time to Pray, the ladder now trained by Fernando Abreu. A couple of starts, stretching out to 3/4. He went up. He had that 3-length lead, so lots of speed in here. And every time we say this, watch, they'll all take back in this race today because, they read the racing form. I'm talking about the jocks. They read the racing form, too. It's going to be a mad dash for the front end. I got to believe Stableford is going to control that pace, the speed of the speed.
I agree
So that was race number 8. Race number 9 this afternoon, a mile in the 16th on the turf. Claim is 3 and up. Non-winners of 2 in life, $8,000. As of this, we went on the air. The 13 wasn't out, but our track announcer, Chris, will update you on all the scratches you need in here. And, boy, if there was ever a hunch play, it's the horse you have on top. Go, Trumpy, go, right on top of your ticket.
Yes, for sure. This one, a $125,000 Son of Warfront, again coming over from the Meadowlands for George Navarro. Has some speed, got bumped at the start last time out and didn't show that regular speed. I want to go back and show this race from the Meadowlands on October 15th. He was the number 5 that day. Just gets bumped and squeezed back at the start. Was forced to be a bit more wide, I think, than he anticipated. There you see the number 5 just bumped around there. It's a little bit of I guess bumping back and forth. It's pretty normal for the break, but I think that he was hoping to maybe get a little bit sharper out and a little bit more towards the front, so you can forgive that last performance.
Yeah, for all the reasons you mentioned, you got to get away from the gate in a timely fashion. He's got a big shot in here, but I did go with the number 5 in here, and that's True Diplomacy, and I'll tell you why. Making his second start at this level and distance, he returned from a fresh sneak to finish a fast closing third behind a repeat winner called Best Concert, and that horse that is still on the also eligible list, Nick Danger in there. And I just think that this horse can run well. I liked that performance last time out on the board at 5 to 1, so I put him right on top of my ticket.
Yeah, I can understand that. He ran well last time out. Didn't love some of his previous turf races before that around the same level. So maybe he woke up last time. Maybe it was a bit of a fluke. We'll see if he's able to run up to that as well. I used the number 12 Dothraki Warrior to the outside. I think he's going to be a little bit more forwardly placed than before, and he's been in pretty good form at this distance as well in his past few races. Again, he's coming from the outside. He's got Nick Juarez in the saddle. See if he's able to run in the money in this spot.
Yeah, I just haven't seen horses breaking that far out on the turf, having a lot of success in the win position.
Right,
They can
exactly,
certainly hit the board. So a horse you can put on your ticket, and he's on the board there. You know, he's the second choice. So, you know, he certainly deserves another look in there. I was going with the 8, Big City Heart, stretching out to a mile and a 16, track the pace, finished a good third against this caliber, going 7.5. So stretching out to a mile and a 16th, another horse I think can be on the ticket there.
And David Brownlee had 2 winners in 2 days, so
Right.
his barn has certainly been going well lately.
Well, race number 10, 7.5 furlongs on the turf. Claim is 3 and up, $8,000. Scratch the 13, scratch the number 14. I went with the 3, Britannia's Moat, and so did you.
I did, and this is a $100,000 Son of English Channel, beaten just by a length the last time out against $8,000 claimers, going to 7.5, and I think that he's perfectly primed in here.
Yeah, you know, number 4, Joe's Blazing Iron. This one's going to the front.
Yeah.
Dropping to the lowest level in 49 races. If this one gets loose on the lead, it's all over. Put it on my ticket. I closed it out with the 9, Dominate. Another one who should benefit if the expected speed duel between Joe's Blazing Iron and a couple other horses near Treasury Devil all over me materializes, and this one might end up sitting a nice trip.
Oh, I'm surprised you didn't use the number 1, All Over Me, from Bobby DeBona. I want to give a trainer stat on Bobby DeBona. In the past 5 years with horses that won last time out on the turf, 9 for 42, 21% win, 20 for 42, 48% of the time in the money, $1.60 ROI. I think this one might be a little bit bet in here, 5-1 in the morning line, but Tyler Gaffalione aboard, and has 3 wins at this distance as well, and showed some speed last time out, so he might be one to press up there.
Now I got to add this one to my ticket too, Bobby the Bonus. So we'll see how that works out. So a wide open 10th race, which you love. Don't forget those 2 nice carryovers: the Rainbow 6 in race number 5 and the late pick 5 in race number 6 this afternoon. Good luck with all your selections.
What do I love about horse racing? Everything.